Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley here as always with my incredible co-host Gian here for an audio-only episode to not only recap Inter Miami and Messi's first playoff win last weekend, but to preview tomorrow's Game 2 match against Atlanta FC. Oh no, excuse me, Atlanta United. I don't know why I said Atlanta FC, Atlanta United. And yeah, we're just really excited about it. So, Gian, how are you? Happy Friday. How are we feeling?
Happy Friday. Feeling great. Feeling excited. Fun times ahead for us. Fun times. A lot of stuff going on. And, anytime we can get on here and talk to all our great followers and our Inter Miami fans, it's always a great time. So I'm excited just to get into it and talk some Inter.
I totally agree. Speaking of, I think that's a really good place to start. Speaking of having fun, wow, I think that Friday, or excuse me, oh my God, guys, it's going to be one of those episodes. Saturday's match, the first playoff match at Inter Miami at Chase Stadium. What a fun time and atmosphere. We were in the press box. And although you said you had your incredible experience in the fan section last time, even for the press box, the energy in the stadium was contagious. Everyone was on the edge of their seat for the whole 90 minutes. And although there was a little bit of a bummer at the end, which we're going to obviously mention and give a shout out to Ian Fray, the game was just had you on the edge of your seat the whole time, and just the emotions in the stadium. Like, what a first playoff game for Inter Miami. It totally delivered.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was, a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of bit of a bummer over there at the end. Obviously, that injury didn't really allow that injury to Ian Fray didn't really allow the team to celebrate like they wanted to celebrate. Obviously, Tata Martino was also very, uh, I think, bummed out, as we saw in that post game conference, and we were told that it was the same in the locker room, with the guys not really being able to celebrate like they'd like to. Really tough, but at the same time, it was a big moment for Inter Miami to win that game and to basically put in half of what they need to do to make sure they get into the next round with this game upcoming in Atlanta. So I had a ton of fun. Like you mentioned it, man, I had a ton of fun in the supporter section, but I still also had a ton of fun in the press box, being able to be with, all of our colleagues in there, and just being able to comment amongst ourselves there. And anytime, you and I, we're always there in the press box, sitting remotely close to each other, and we're able to talk to and comment about the craziness that we see on the field. So that's always a blast for us. But look, I think there's quite a few things that we can dive into this game that we saw for Inter Miami. I think that obviously it was a win, but there were some things there were some challenges presented along the way that we can discuss. Maybe we thought we were going to see a bit more, a few more goals. There was somebody that was really important for Atlanta there that basically made it a very, very, what would you say, that gave them a lot more life.
Oh my God, you mean their incredible
Yeah,
goalkeeper?
yeah, their incredible goalkeeper Gusan really gave them
Oh my
life going
God.
into this and that. Because look, this game, Ash, what do you think? Like, if it wasn't for Gusan, what do you think the score might have been? Like, realistically, just look at
Realistically, like 4-2.
yeah, yeah.
I think Inter Miami would have scored probably 3 unanswered goals before Atlanta got one back, and then, obviously take your foot off the gas a little bit. I think we'd score another, and then I think we'd, like, let them score another, bringing in some reserves and taking your foot off the gas for that last 20 minutes is how I thought of it. I mean, in the first 30 minutes, we should have had 3 goals, and I mean, you know yeah, to your point, like, Messi couldn't score if his life depended on it, which is something that you never say about Lionel Messi. But it was just one of those nights where he himself would say he should have had 3-4 goals on his own, forget the one set up for other teammates, and just Gusan was just all over it, and just, was like basically playing like an octopus, had 8 hands everywhere, and just yeah,
Yeah.
totally kept Atlanta in the game.
Yeah, it was incredible, really. Just to see how many shots he was getting out. I mean, and I think for Tata and for this team, it's got to be interesting because they're looking at this game and saying we did all the right things, basically,
Yeah,
from an offensive standpoint. We were getting ourselves, I think, into really good positions to score. They were getting the shots. I think towards the end of it, I think that Gusan had like 8 stops, like that were on target. Like he
yeah,
did very well for them. So it's like, okay, what do we do going into Atlanta? Do we need to do anything different? Because look, this Atlanta team, at least going into these last few games before the playoffs, like I was looking at some of these games and they were doing very well defensively. They're a team that likes to play a low block. They're a team that likes to put a lot of guys in that back line, sometimes even 6 players in that back line. So it was going to be tough for Inter Miami to get in there and get good shots, and they did that. So I think that that was successful for the team. And one of the things I was thinking about this game as we were going through it and saying, man, like they need to find, I guess, other ways to try to score with this goalkeeper. Maybe you bring in a guy like Matias Rojas that can add that extra dynamic of being able to shoot from outside the box. And right when I was thinking that, then Jordi Alba scores a banger,
oh
like
my
from
god, a
outside
golazo. Oh my god,
yeah,
I
from
forgot
outside
about
the
that.
area. Yeah, so that was an incredible goal. So I was like, okay, perfect. But this, I think that if you're Tata Martino, you're like, okay, look, let's just, it's just part of the game.
Yeah,
The goalkeeper hadn't just was at playing all-star level. Is this goalkeeper going to have this exact same type of game going into Atlanta? Like, I don't know if that's feasible. I don't think that's going to happen. So if I'm Tata, I'm like, let me go in and do the same thing I did, which was successful in the sense of we found the opportunities to score. One thing I guess, Ash, like, what do you think about how Busquets going into that back line? Was that something for you that was maybe surprising, or did you expect that? Because we've seen that before, but more so out of like necessity, right? Because of injuries and that sort of thing. I thought that, wow, this team being this healthy and having Busquets in that back line, I thought that was interesting. And then we go into the post game, and then Tata Martino says, I don't like to play two like defensive mids at the same time. So for me to be able to play to be able to play Yannick Bright, which
yeah,
shows how much confidence he has that he wanted to play Yannick Bright in this game. He thought it was very important to have him on the field, that he was willing to put Busquets into that back line so that he can have Yannick Bright in the midfield. He was very adamant about that. He says, you guys know I don't like to play two defensive midfields. That's why I put Busquets in that back line. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that was a good decision? Was that interesting, surprising at all?
yeah. I mean, it's a really good point and a good thing to bring up because to start with, I was sitting next to, besides the fact that you were in front of me in the press box, I was sitting next to one of our colleagues and really good friends, Xavier Guerrero Javi, who is a
Yeah.
writer for Lemon City and gets to go to the games, and just someone we've been close with. We've had him on the show before. Always talking about lots of things with him involving the team, including uh US men's national team. So shout out to Javi. But we said when we saw the lineup, like really happy that Bright's in. Um, where do we think Busquets is gonna go? And I said, I think Busquets is gonna play forward. And I think because of Yannick Bright, Tata was thinking that Yannick Bright would be able to like kind of be part of that back, be able to do that defensive duty. And let Busquets kind of be more forward and thinking more about playmaking. But in the end, it was reversed, and he
Yeah.
immediately had Busquets in the as a center back role, and we got to ask Tata about that after. And to be honest with you, I didn't. I was surprised at first, but I actually think it was a really brilliant move by Tata because from minute one, yeah, Atlanta United scored. They had a good opportunity there. I would also say that by that point in the game, we should have had probably 3 goals by now, and on any other day, we would. I think the game plan was absolutely sound. And from minute one, Busquets brings that sense of calm organization and championship mentality to the back line, keeping people's nerves in check. I mean, Tomas Aviles, who, yes, he was part of the reason why they scored the goal, and he hasn't been playing, in our opinion, probably to the level he could play. he was way more calm, way more, didn't make those big errors, didn't get a yellow card, did different things. Same with Cello. Like everyone
Yeah.
was just organized, the holes were filled, and Bright was all over the place. And I thought in the end it was actually a great move. And to your point earlier, I don't think much is going to change for this game tomorrow. I think maybe you may see some earlier subs. Like I think maybe we'll see Matira Rojas come in. I think maybe we'll see Robert Taylor come in. I don't maybe Noah Allen. I don't think though, and I mean those as subs. I don't mean those as changes in the starting lineup. I think the starting lineup's staying exactly the same.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
eh,
and
yeah, go ahead.
I thought I just want to say that I thought it was like also kind of genius for Tata to be able to set that up and
Yep,
have those basically he played basically like a 3-5-2
yep,
or something along those lines where he had just the Martinez, Aviles, and Busquets in the back. And the reason I thought that was really good is obviously when you allow for Yannick Bright to be in that midfield, that I think is just pivotal from a defensive standpoint to have him as a disruptor and be able
yeah,
to create all the space, but also like look at who was the guy on Atlanta that has given Inter Miami the most trouble over the last few games, that has basically scored on us every single game over I think like the last 3 games. He had 1 goal against us in the previous game. Before this he had 2 goals against us the game before, and that's Saba,
yep,
the number 9 for Atlanta. And what was different in this game was because that I was able to play that back line of 3, and he basically had Jordi Alba and Chelo Wenga almost like as wingers.
yeah,
You're playing really, really high up. I don't think there were many times where Alba was coming down to be part of that defense. It was basically always as a winger up top, and that really forced Saba to play a lot more defensive and
yep,
to be stuck basically the entire time. He was stuck having cover to cover Jordi Alba. So I think that was a way to also like not only help on offense for us, but also kind of put pressure on them to not have the offensive firepower that they would like to have against us. Because and if I'm not mistaken, the 1 goal that got scored on us was by who was it by? Wasn't it Saba actually? Nah, it was
no,
who was it? Who was it that yeah, it was
um,
Saba. Saba
oh,
scored on us in minute 39.
oh, right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But that was also it was in. To be fair to him, it was a great bit of
yeah, but
play.
I'm saying like it was
Yeah,
the very few opportunities that Saba wasn't defending and trying to help with Jordi Alba. He like I think that was the first time, because up to
yep,
39 minutes he hadn't been really able to be part of the offense. For the first time, he actually doesn't have to worry about Jordi. He comes up and he scores. So to that point, like I think that was a really good move by Tata
yeah,
Martino moving forward, and I think we'll probably see it in the next game as well. But one of the things I think that we also need to bring attention to is today in practice, Busquets wasn't
yeah,
out on the field. So there's some speculation going into the game tomorrow. Like, is he going to be available? And if he's not available, then what happens in the defense? What happens in the midfield? Because of the fact that, again, you just count on him so much. Like, I don't know what you think about that. Like, what can we maybe see if he does, in fact, not play tomorrow?
yeah. I mean, it obviously surprised everyone that yesterday and today he wasn't in training. He
Yeah.
says he has an illness. I'll tell you this, unless it's a really, really bad illness, and maybe it is, and I, wish him nothing but the best, I would be very surprised if he's not playing tomorrow. I'd be very surprised. But if he isn't, you never know, like if he has the flu, if he has COVID, there's some things that are obviously out of his control. Um, if they don't do that, then I think you're gonna, probably have to go back to a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see, and a big call Tata made was not starting Julian Gressel and starting Yannick Bright instead. And it's
Yep.
something that we obviously, as commentators and as analysis and analyzers of the team and the game, um, we have said that tactically and just because of the balance of the team, knowing that Messi and Suarez don't really play that much defensively. You need to have a bit of a stronger defensive core and worry less about the playmaking and worry more about filling those midfield gaps. And Yannick Bright does that.
Yep.
And and Tata had to make a tough call, and he had to bench Gressel, who's been available for him all year, someone who he coached in Atlanta when they won the MLS Cup, and it was a difficult choice, but I think it's the right choice. And look, tomorrow, if it ends up Busquets isn't available, then I think you'll go back. You'll see, like I said, that 4-3-3, and you'll see Gressel back in the midfield. I'm hoping we get to see what we've seen in the past, because, like, to your point and what we've been saying, the balance worked really well, and it made it very difficult for Atlanta to generate offense and really strong, you know, pieces of possession. And again, like, Messi is one of, obviously, the most prolific scorers in the history of the game, obviously the best to ever play the game. You expect him, even though his standards for himself and what we expect is so freaking high, you probably expect a couple of more of those shots to go in, and don't think you're going to see the same thing you see last week. You think you're going to see someone a little bit more ruthless in front of goal. Same for Suarez. So I'm hoping we don't see too much of a change there. I think the atmosphere is going to be amazing. It's sold out. It's in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 70,000. It's gonna be really cool, and it is gonna be on turf, which is something that, knock on wood, is good. But I think Inter Miami can not only win and get themselves into round two, but I think they can honestly do it in dominating fashion. I think that more of those shots go in the second time around, and although a score line was close, I think Inter Miami dominated the game, and they knew they dominated and that they were the superior opponent, and I think
Oh
that
yeah.
that carries.
Yeah, 100% they dominated that game. I think, I mean, visually, you could tell that they dominated. Then when you look at the stats, you're talking about 11 shots on goal versus 2 from Atlanta,
Yeah.
19 shots total versus 6, 66 possession to 34. Like, and then obviously then is
And
the
meaningful possession too. Like, a lot of
yeah,
those were goal scoring chances. Like, it wasn't just
ex-
kicking the ball around. You
yeah.
thought they were going to score almost every 3
No,
or 4
look, and
minutes.
the final tally at the end of the day, the final tally, and which basically tells the story of that entire match, is 9 saves for Atlanta versus 1 for Miami. So
Yeah.
that basically shows you how much of a lopsided game offensively it was, and the fact that if you want this to be even remotely close in Atlanta, you're going to need a stellar, once in a lifetime, or twice rather in a lifetime now, performance from Busan. So I think that the team, just again going into Atlanta, it says that's probably not going to happen again. And I think they're probably going to want to make sure they take care of business as soon as possible, so that they can maybe get some of their guys off of that synthetic field, so that they don't run the risk of injuries or anything like that, right? And
Yeah.
also, I think they have that added, um, what would you say, like, they have that chip where they want to get this done for Ian Fray, right?
Yeah,
They
it's so funny that I was
yeah,
just about to bring it up. Speaking of injuries,
yeah,
let's take a minute to talk about Ian Fray. That poor kid. First of all, thank God it's not another ACL tear. The minute he came into the game, and it's so funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's ironic. It's like, it shows just how brutal
yeah,
sports are. That, I remember we all looked at each other, you, me, and Javi, and we said, "Wow, taking out Tomas Aviles this early in the game," which was at the time what, like 75 minutes, 73 minutes, like earlier than he normally would come out. Comes out of the game. They put in Ian Fray, who we all love and who's just an absolute superstar this year. Who me and Javi were talking about. And we're like, God, he could be a starting center back for the US men's national team in 2 years if he was able to play consistently. He goes down in what, the 83rd minute, I
yeah,
think, and non-contact, in total pain, covers his face, and in the press box, everyone just goes, "Oh my God, not again. This poor kid, not another ACL." Looks like it was a meniscus injury. And although it's season ending, it's not an ACL, and he will hopefully be back early next year. I would say, you know, it's just really rotten luck for him, because he is so freaking talented. Remember his first 2 games back this year, he
oh
scored
yeah,
headers in both of those games. absolute rock star. And Tata was being so methodical with bringing him back slowly but surely over these last few months, and knowing how talented he was, putting him in big situation games.
Everybody wanted
Um,
him to start, and
everyone,
there's a
I
reason
mean,
why he wasn't.
and so, prayers to him. He's such a good
Yeah.
kid. We're hoping, like they said, it's not as bad as they feared. It's something he'll be able to come back from far sooner than normal with the ACL, and just hope to God the kid stays healthy. But yeah, you felt it in the stadium, you felt it in the press box, you felt it online. You saw all of those tweets and messages going out, going, "Oh my God, not Ian Fray." So just wishing him the best, and hoping, like you said, the team, has him on their back and shows out.
Yeah, definitely a tough one. And we were also saying as soon as he went down and he, covered his face, and we can only imagine him probably shedding a few tears. We said it. He knows, like, you know your body, you know yourself, and he knew that he had a significant injury, and it was just really tough for all of us to watch, the fans and everybody. Somebody that we've grown to like and so much, somebody that's been through so much. And I mean, you can only hope that moving forward, somehow something is done differently for him, whether it's nutrition, whether it's the type of physical therapy. I don't know. We just need them to figure out something that's going to
Keep him
strengthen
healthy.
him, put
Yeah.
him in a better place, and at less risk of injury. As I mentioned previously, while you were, talking about Ian, we know how good he is. We've had flashes of what his potential is, and especially in those games early on where he scored these amazing goals. So he not only brought the defense, but he brought the offense. And many of us were like, man, he needs to be starting. He needs to be starting. And we knew that just Tata's just been taking care of him. The team has been taking care of him. So I think that that's also, like, it's just so tough for everybody. Like we've been doing our best to put him in a position to succeed. We
Hmm.
didn't want to rush him. And despite all that, like, this happens, you just feel awful for the situation. You feel awful for him, for his family, for the team as a whole. And all you can do is just hope that something is done differently for him,
Yeah.
and so that he's ready. And as you briefly said there, it could have been a lot worse. We all feared ACL. A source told us that it was best case scenario at the end of the day for what everybody was thinking on the team, and that he'll be back early next season. Hopefully, for the start of the season, we'll see. So
Yeah.
tomorrow, we saw this the other. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time, but we saw how much the team supported him last time. We saw that they've dedicated wins to him, and I think tomorrow is going to be no different. If they win, hopefully, I'm pretty sure that this win and this move on to the next round is going to be dedicated to this young man that definitely deserves everybody's support.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, look, we say it like, if Ian Frey had been healthy over these last few years, he would have been in Europe by now. He's that good. He's that naturally talented and good. And yeah, he's so young. There's still so much opportunity and chance, and we hope he keeps taking them. Uh yeah, I think they will be playing for him tomorrow, and like I said, I think that, Busquets, we'll see. If there's no Busquets, I think you may see it obviously change in personnel, change in the lineup, the formation. Hopefully not. Hopefully they're just being extra cautious with him. He's, getting the IVs, the fluids, and he's able to play tomorrow. If he thinks he can, he will. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And we cannot wait to watch it. We think the atmosphere is going to be awesome. Inter Miami definitely have it in them to win. You see Luis Suarez, who's absolute nails, will score in any game, any scenario. If he needs to score, he'll do it. Lionel Messi, same thing. Those shots will go in any other day. And yeah, he looked good. They got to keep pushing. We will be doing a post game live stream tomorrow after the game, because it's one of those few games where it's not only a super meaningful game, obviously, but it's an away game and it's at a reasonable time. So we will be doing a post-game live stream, where we can talk even more, and hopefully we'll be talking about an Inter Miami win, a dominant performance, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I would say let us know not only your score predictions, let us know who you think is going to play, what your thoughts are on the lineup, what you want to see happen.
Yep. Agreed. So I think that I am very, very, very excited because,
Remember what you said last time we went to Atlanta, though. Just remember that.
well, yeah, that's true as well. You know what? I have actually given up on a lot of the predicting that I do. I'm really right.
Nostradamus had an early retirement.
Yeah, it was a very early retirement that one time that I almost, I almost played the lottery if I would have gone that
You
fourth,
should have.
that fourth result in a row. So I've kind of taken a step back from that, and I just, I'll wait on what you think and what others think. No, but I'll still give my predictions and that
Oh,
sort of
so but
thing.
you
But
just want me to go first, is what you're saying.
yeah, basically, and then
Got
I'll
it.
just
Got it.
follow up on that. But yeah.
Okay, I'll go first. I think it, although I think we are going to win, and I think, tactically, personnel wise, we will continue to be dominant and we will continue to get a result. Um, being at a different stadium, having the emotions from the Ian Fray match, all those things all come into effect. I think it'll be a little bit tight, but I think Inter Miami will win 3-1.
3-1.
I think we will. I think we will score early. I think we will keep the pressure, but I also think, because of the fact that we are keeping the pressure and there is, that subjective soreness in the back, sometimes, and they have obviously some playmakers on their end too, and Guzan will keep them in the game. All of those things combined, I think they will get a goal, but I think we will score at least two more than them.
I think that it's going to be 4-2 is what I think.
Oh, who
Yeah,
wins?
obviously Inter Miami. That's a very important part, though. I should have probably mentioned that, but yeah, Inter Miami is going to win 4-2. I think that this team is going to put up a fight, especially being in front of their home crowd, and I think that Inter Miami will continue to be the team that's in possession, the team that's getting all the opportunities to shoot on goal. I think that Gusan will still play well, but I don't expect him to have the same type of performance he had in Miami. If he does, then he needs to go play in the Premier League or somewhere because that was just incredible. So I don't expect him to have that type of performance, and I think again Miami should get the goals that they didn't get here in Miami, and then as Miami defense always is, I think that they'll have that one lapse where there's maybe that they don't concentrate for 15 seconds, and that's the opportunity that Atlanta gets. Plus, give them an extra one for being at home. That's the two. So I'm going 4-2 on this one. But here's what I think. I think Atlanta scores early on, and then I think they make it a little interesting, and then Miami just pulls away. I've seen quite a few games like that, so I think it'll probably be the same this time around. But at the end of the day, I think we'll all be happy as fans. I think we'll all be happy as commentators and reporters with this team. And I'm just looking forward to who's next. There's a specific team I want to face in the next round. So I'll also be kind of score watching on that end.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think this is only the beginning. We're hopefully going to be at the beginning of a long, exciting playoff run, obviously led by Lionel Messi, who just really quickly obviously had this exclusive interview, with Fabrizio Romano, and said a lot of what we kind of have expected and known, which is that one, he's very happy here. Two, he really likes the environment of MLS. He likes the competition. The levels are higher than he expected. And just, he loves the team and being able to grow and help the team grow. So hopefully all, sticking with the schedule, and as long as he stays healthy and enjoying the game, will hopefully keep him to the 2026 World Cup, which means we get another 2 seasons with him, which is what we're all hoping for. But we don't want this season to end anytime soon. So vamos Inter Miami. We'll watch them tomorrow. Hopefully, close out the series and get us to that next round of the playoffs and even closer to the Supporters Shield, or not the MLS Cup. Oh my God, how many errors have I had in this episode?
No,
Honestly,
no, I think that you're just thinking ahead. You're thinking about next season. So that's
I'm
great to know.
thinking ahead. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. When
I love it.
okay, well, so um Thank you for watching this episode of Messi and Co. Make sure to have our notifications on for both YouTube and Twitter because, like I said, not only will we be live tweeting the game, giving our commentary, giving our latest Inter Miami news tomorrow, but we will be going live post game as soon as the game's over for instant reaction and conversation. And we're really excited to do so. So, yeah, thank you for listening to Messi and Co. I'm Ashley. That is Gian, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Hasta mañana.